Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, the Jersey Devil, Chupacabra. For millennia, these creatures have perplexed the human race. But what if they are forces of good? What if they have been sent here by a federation of more advanced alien species to help and defend the human race? That's the premise of League of Cryptids, a new comic book by Grant Lankard, creator of the smash hits Beowulf and Memoirs of the Morbid. His new comic, League of Cryptids, is a 4-part story involving these 5 creatures banding together to defend Earth from an invading alien race, just as one of their members is losing faith in the human race and questioning their mission. The adventure continues in League of Cryptids 2.
Recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles, this is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. At first, I think it's just me there, but then I hear something from inside, and I realize I'm not alone after all. I'm Anthony.
I'm Kirby.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Jim.
Welcome to issue number 313 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast. Every time we record, we talk about comic books. On this week's show, we're going to cover issue number 1 of a brand new series, Minor Arcana. And then over in the weekly reviews, we're going to go back and forth, talk about the books that we've been reading, whether they're new, whether they're old. We're going to talk about them there. Then over in the news segment, we're going to talk about the October catalogs for December 2024 and beyond, all of the preview items. We're going to cover Marvel, DC, and the Independents. Since we didn't have any shows in the last couple weeks, we're going to do that all in one episode. So that is the setup for the show. Let's jump right into the club discussion. All right, we're going to cover issue number 1 of Minor Arcana, the beginning of a brand new series. Teresa, the daughter of a small-town quote-unquote psychic fraud, returns home to care for her ailing mother, however begrudgingly. But when Teresa discovers that there may be more to this magic than she originally believed, she'll find herself caught up in a town that desperately needs her help. This comic is done by Jeff Lemire and Steve Wands. All right. This is Jeff Lemire's debut at Boom Studios. He's got products all over the publishers of Marvel and DC and Independents alike. But apparently this is the first time of him playing over at Boom. And Jeff Lemire is somebody we've talked about many a times on the show. I had prepared a quick list of, he just has so much stuff that I love, and this is just a brief mention of them. He's known for Black Hammer, Bone Orchard Mythos, Essex County, Sweet Tooth, Descender, Family Tree, Fish Flies, Gideon Falls, Little Monsters, Maze Book, Phantom Road, Plutona, Primordial, and my personal favorite, which is Royal City, and then amongst all the Marvel and DC stuff. So when I see Jeff Lemire as a new book, especially when he is the writer and artist, that gets my extra attention. I'm excited that we had a couple other people here that were interested in it. So we're going to dive into this book here, Minor Arcana. The synopsis there kind of just talked about Teresa basically returning to her hometown at the request of her mother. And, it was kind of left up in the air on the reason for showing up. She's having a lot of memories and flashbacks. She's, running into people at old joints that she would go to. And she, does not want to be there. And she doesn't really want to talk with anybody. And very quickly after a conversation with her mother, she's ready to pack up and leave. And it kind of gives you the vibe of what's going on in here. And then there's, flashbacks to past relationships, a lot of things kind of left up in the air, and then the whole idea of this being told for a psychic comic book and dealing with tarot cards and tarot readings and all of that stuff. That stuff plays a big part into here to kind of launch into why we're holding this book. So that is just kind of a brief little walkthrough. We're going to go through and talk about it. Jim, you want to kick us off here talking about your thoughts on Minor Arcana #1?
I really enjoyed this book. I did not know when I heard about it and I was going to order it that it was all Jeff Lemire, writing, art, everything. I just saw his name on it. I assumed just the writing, but the art really surprised me. It resembles the art of one of my other favorite books, Harrow County, that was written or drawn and painted by Tyler Crook. Very similar watercolor styles. I think this one's a little less finished in the watercolors, but it suits this book, the tone that they're setting, so much better. Because of that, it's great that way. This lost girl who's the daughter of a psychic who's returning to her hometown kind of unwillingly. It just the tone of the art fits the tone of the story very well, I think.
Well, then you'll be happy with his other products. If you see Jeff Lemire as the writer and artist, this is his style going forward, and like all of his stuff feels like they're all part of the same universe because the characters are designed in a similar way and they all carry that similar tone. So, yeah.
Awesome. Now I do have a thing to. Are we going to say Minor Arcana or Minor Arcana?
So that's one that I tried. There weren't too many video examples that I could find out there as I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce it. So you bring it up for a reason. Is there a reason behind it?
Just because it's always been one of those things that I've always heard, like the people that do tarot refer to mostly as Arcana, the major and the minor Arcana. But then when you get into the D&D world, there is a skill. Whereas, you're checking how much magic you know, and that skill is back and forth between people of whether it's Arcana or Arcana. So I was just wondering,
I guess
how everybody else is saying it, so.
Mysteries we go through, we'll say it, many different ways.
Is it Jeff Lemire or Jeff Lemire?
We're going to have to get him on the club to settle all this.
There was a long period that I did question that based on the spelling, but it is Jeff Lemire for sure. Now, is it Boom Studios or Boam Studios?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It is either one of those.
Any other general thoughts at all?
The story, like I said, I just really enjoyed the story. Glad I don't remember you talking about it at the club, like the time that the catalogs were out, but I saw it and, something is like, so I did get on it and I did put it on my subscription for Comixologies. So cool. I'm real happy to have found it.
Glad to hear that. Let's jump over to Katie. Your thoughts on Minor Arcana or Arcana?
Sure. Yes, I also read this and I did like it. It's kind of a typical Jeff Lemire book where it has a lot of dark undertones to it, or kind of things are not as they seem undertones, which is very characteristic of his books. I actually identified with a lot of the themes and ideas in here. Definitely the caregiving aspect and feeling like, wow, I wanted so badly to get away from this town, and here I am again. And feeling like, oh crap, what if I see somebody that I know and it's going to be super weird and awkward and I'll have to pretend to be friendly. And there's a line where the homeless guy says, oh, you're a saint. And she says, yeah, not even, or hardly, or something like that. Not even close. And I'm like, I get that because I feel that way. And in fact, I have said that too, where I'm like, nope, definitely not a saint. And, feeling like the town is not really going anywhere. Like it's kind of like slowly dying, and it's almost more painful to watch that way. Um, her, I gotta say, I feel sympathy for this girl because she's taking care of a parent who clearly seems like a real piece of work. Like does not seem like someone who would make it easy to be like, yeah, I'm willing to do that for you. I'm doing this out of love. It seems like very much this girl is doing it out of duty. And be interesting to explore a little more of that. It does kind of set up like she had a drinking problem or maybe still does. Um, and she just seems like a pretty lonely, lost soul who's going through a lot of pain and is unfortunately by herself throughout all of it. So I sympathize a lot with that. And the feelings of being like, oh man, I still feel crummy for like, I feel like a teenager still, but oh no, I'm not. Like it's definitely better than I'm making it out to be. And there's a really sad but kind of sweet moment where like it's flashing back to her and her grandpa, and she's saying, well, I'm never, I don't want to live here. Like I'm never gonna stay here. Like never ever. And he's like, oh yeah, I know. I've said that so much too. But there's always just something that keeps me here. I've tried so many times, and I just can't. And yeah, totally get that. That makes sense. Um, and then I thought it was kind of cool that like she didn't really believe in the tarot or the crystal ball, and she's actually kind of mad at this lady for showing up, but then she starts having some kind of spiritual experience, and that's how it ends the book. But I'm excited to see what comes next. I liked it. Solid first issue, great setup, pretty much everything that I expect from Jeff Lemire. And I have issue 2. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Excellent. Yeah, my thoughts are the same with you two. Like I said, going into this, I was just excited because, while Jeff Lemire works with great artists when he's only doing the writing, I get extra excited when he's doing the writing and the art. I had mentioned Royal City being my favorite thing that he's done. I've talked about that book on this very show a handful of years ago. I think that came out, I don't know if that's 10 years ago already, but there's a hardcover edition that's out there. It's one of those that I bought all the singles and I double dipped on the hardcover. And I think he plans to do some more. I don't know if that's through his Patreon or whatever, but I got to follow up on that. So anytime Jeff Lemire is doing that stuff, I'm so excited to kind of dive into his world. I love his designs. I love his characters. I love the tones. It just gets so deep into thought, and the characters, all of his characters just have so much pain and hurt in them, and it's so interesting to kind of follow their journey. And specifically with Teresa, as Katie had said, with her kind of coming back to this kind of dying town, and while she was asked to be there, within the first 2 minutes of talking to her mom, she's basically ready to leave because she's like, "Oh, you don't even care that I'm here. You don't want me here," and expecting me to do the things that I'm not going to do. And you had mentioned the drinking problem for Teresa because both her mother and Teresa have that. And Teresa, when there was a couple moments where she said she automatically went to a certain
Yeah.
one of them being a bar, realizing that
Mhm.
she's been, I think, a couple months sober, and realizing
Yeah.
without realizing, she just automatically walked to the bar and sit down and kind of hit her when she was asked what she wanted, and then she got up and left. And then there was a moment in her room where she found herself automatically going to the closet and finding her grandpa's coat and having that flashback there. So yeah, she's really going through the motions and kind of living through this. There's a moment where she's looking, sees, it's hard to tell if it's something that she's seeing in real time or seeing the past of it, but there is possibly a friend, possibly an ex-lover, this woman who, by the way, the mother kind of really lays down in bold lettering of like, oh, that woman that left you or that dumped you or whatever. And you get a little bit of hint that her mom wasn't too supportive of the relationship that she had, and she looks upon this one lady that's just kind of having a kind moment with a loved one, and just kind of, it's hard to tell if that's like a friend from this town or maybe this is the ex-girlfriend, or there's more to be told on there. But I love every little every little interaction she had with somebody in town, with the lady that was working at the coffee shop that she quickly didn't want anything to do with because she was recognized. And so all of these things, you just get she hits a wall in every place that she goes in this issue. And yeah, I am all for this. Absolutely loved it, and the ending really left for an exciting little setup for whatever's to come next. Any other
Yeah.
thoughts that anybody want to chime in with?
I
Did
do. I
anybody
actually go ahead.
go ahead, Katie?
Okay. I was gonna say I feel like seeing the connection she has with her mom actually made me appreciate my situation and reminding me that it is actually what my situation is much better and mutually beneficial, and it could be way worse. And I gotta say, even though this main character seems to be doing this out of obligation, I wouldn't blame her if she just said, you know what, I can't, you're on your own. But I give her massive kudos for sticking it out and at least attempting to go back and help take care of her mom. Because yeah, literally she walked in the door and immediately was being attacked. And it's like, okay, but yeah, definitely. No, go ahead, Jim.
I was wondering if anybody else saw a resemblance between the homeless man outside the bar and the grandfather pictures.
Mm.
Or is it just me because they both have old man white hair?
Now, I'll say this. I think
Oh,
I'm going to take a look at it. The one thing, even though, yeah, a lot of Jeff Lemire's characters,
oh, you're right.
when he has a style, a lot of them, have some similarities and things like that. So maybe it's something on purpose, or maybe it's not. But I'm taking another look at it here.
No, you're onto something there. They do look really similar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
It's interesting. Watercolor I normally associate with being bright and happy and colorful and gentle, and Jeff Lemire manages to make it look so dreary in a way that almost kind of has an uncanny valley effect because it's so different. It's very unique artistic decision. I like it.
all of his books have that. Looking back at Essex County, Sweet Tooth, you get a little extra color in that one, but it still has those same kind of tones. Fish Flies, definitely. Looking at May's book and Plutona and Royal City, those are all like ones that he wrote and drew, and they all feel like you could just put any of those pages inside a different book, and you're just be like, all right, now I'm following this character. Like it's very seamless in that kind of tone, and whether or not that's something maybe he doesn't want to hear that being like, oh, all my work's the same. Well, I'm saying that's a great thing because I know what to expect, and I'm excited because I love that style. So
And there are only so many ways you can portray a white-haired old man.
yeah.
That's true.
So is it the intended resemblance or just coincidence?
Yeah, and that's really just where all the character development and inner monologues and everything that he builds with his characters in any book is what makes the character beyond the design too. But yeah, any other thoughts to throw in there?
I do like that she starts wearing her grandpa's jacket, but yeah, that was cool.
And then the one thing I was going to tease is that we said this off air, I think in our last meeting, that so we picked this as our club discussion, and sometimes we're like, all right, is this a mini series? Is this a specific book? Like how much are we committing to here? And at the end, it was news to me until I read it on the one of the last pages. A long form series from the creator of Sweet Tooth, blah blah blah, to be collected in 4 deluxe hardcovers. So we just read issue number 1, and there's a plan for 4 deluxe hardcovers already. And now when you have somebody like Jeff Lemire and you're all in on that, he has his fan base, he's got a track record, and there's probably not too many people who can be like, oh well, this story's gonna have 4 hardcovers, being like, well, let's see how the first couple issues sell or something. But he definitely has a path for what he's building in the story, and it's definitely a lot to take in considering the fact that he's doing the writing and the art So that's a big project, and I'm excited. I'm in for all of it. As far as the club discussion, we'll most likely cover like the first arc, and then we usually kind of part ways and return to it if we bring it into the weekly reviews. But so
So
yeah,
we're talking 20 to 24 issues here, at
yeah,
least.
yeah, possibly. I guess it all depends here. I'm not sure. They do have a little map here saying the Book of Wands, the Book of Swords, the Book of Cups, and the Book of Pentacles.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, I'm excited just for the overall idea of like, yep, I have one big story to tell, and this is exactly how long it's going to take. So cool. All right, that is going to do it then for Minor Arcana or Arcana #1. And we'll talk about future issues of this opening arc. In upcoming club discussions, we're going to have the one shot of What If Donald Duck Became Thor? Then we have issue #2 of Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay. Or is it Decay? Minor Arcana #2. All of those issues are available now. Batman Full Moon, which I think is out now. It's on my waiting to be shipped thing yet, based on the shipping cycle. What If Minnie Mouse Became Captain Marvel? So those are upcoming club discussions, and we will choose more as we dive into the upcoming previews. And
You're picking on a white-haired old man, I hear?
now, people listening on the audio are like, wait, what kind of beef is going down now? This is why you subscribe to Crimson Cowl Comic Club over on YouTube, to get the full experience, because old white-haired man came into the Zoom. I don't even remember hitting the admit button, and this person just snuck in. I don't know where Kirby went, though. Maybe he stepped out, so I've never...
He told me someone was looking for a old white-haired man, so I figured I'd stop in.
Excellent. So that is going to do it for the club discussion. Let's move on to the weekly reviews. First up for the weekly reviews, very excited about this one. Frankie Boy Monster, or Frankie Boy Monster. I have yet to decide what it is. Growing up is hard enough, but it's even harder when you're a reanimated boy, also trying to deal with the isolation of a helicopter parent. He's a hero who's more than the sum of his parts. This is created, written, and drawn by Morgan Herron. Now, I mentioned my confusion with the title because I've seen it actually written both ways, with a Frankie Boy Monster, and then just Frankie Boy Monster. But I think both work as well. 2 months ago in the previous catalog, I caught my eye. I love the title. I love the design, that it looked very Mike Mignola-ish in the design of his art here. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And it was a little pricier for a smaller size trim book, but you definitely get the vibe that this is a more very independent book. Now, what was cool about this is that I pre-ordered it 2 months ago. I talked about it on the very club that I was excited to see whatever the heck this was going to be. And then I was recently at Chronicon, which is the first ever Kevin Smith convention, and it was an awesome, awesome time. And I'm going through the artist alley and the vendors and everything, and I run across Cosmic Lion Productions. And so they had a big booth set up, and they had a lot of cool, like, different looking books that are all up on the rack. Tons of different stuff that this one guy, Eli, is I think he's the creator of the publisher, that he was representing all of his creators and all the books that publish under his publishing name. And I'm just going through, just finding some things, and then I see Frankie Boy Monster, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, was this just in previews? He's like, oh yeah, it should be coming out soon. I'm like, hey, I've got this on order, and I was just kind of excited just to kind of see that right there in front of me, and to see that this is a very independent book and creator. This is fun. This book has 3 different stories, all dealing with the same character. I just love the art. The cover showed off just a very bright colors and stuff. You see a lot of pinks and yellows in their backgrounds, and that Mignola style is very much kind of throughout this issue, except much brighter, just based on those color palettes. And yeah, we have Frankie Boy Monster, who is We see his father, who is kind of having there's a bunch of like incubators, a bunch of other monsters that are kind of just all up in glass, and Frankie Boy's kind of wondering what's going on. He comes into that room, into that lab, because he was. I would just want to read this here. I was just getting some water and I lost my hand. So Frankie Boy just comes up and just being like, "Hey, I can't find my hand. Can you help me with it?" And this is when he kind of discovers what's going on in this lab here. And it doesn't take too long until chaos breaks loose and Frankie Boy has to jump into action and save his scientist of a father and go through and fight some of these kind of reanimated corpse in this lab here. There are 3 different stories. I don't want to show too much from this here. I will tease the upcoming ones. The middle story is a fun little story where Frankie Boy Monster and a friend who appears to just be a human friend. They are going. It appears to be that they're going fishing, but the friend had lost something, and he thought that, hey, I'll just send Frankie Boy down into the water and put him into danger and peril. I'll just leave it at that. Don't want to spoil any parts of the stories, but that was kind of a fun little setup and different kind of setting. Um, and then there's one that focuses mostly on the scientist and being approached by someone maybe of his past. I'll just kind of leave it at that. But there were 3 short stories in here. They're all very fun, super cool. I just love the idea and the premise of this, and looking at this and realizing a very Mignola influenced style. Well, in the back of the book, he kind of talks about his journey about having this book out here. I believe the creator Morgan. I think he's a 19-year-old first-time creator, if I'm not mistaken. But he got to meet Mike Mignola, and there he is. Mike is holding his book there, which I think is just awesome for someone who you can just definitely tell is fully influenced by Hellboy and the worlds of creations of Mike Mignola. He goes, Frankie meets his biggest inspiration, Mike Mignola, at Rose City Comic Con 2024. This was a blast. I immediately went to the Cosmic Line Productions website. Issue 2 is, I think, available now, and I think it's slated to be in the previews shortly. They have issue 3 up for pre-order, if I'm not mistaken. There's a bundle pack where you can get all 3 of them. And get that price all locked in. I think I might buy them directly from Cosmic Line. They have other stuff on their store from all their other creators, and I did pick up a couple other things, but this is the one I was excited for. I was just blown away, and all I wanted to do after reading this, not only is securing the other issues, is that I can't wait to draw this character. I want to do a fun little fan art pinup type of thing and send it over. So I absolutely love this. Frankie Boy Monster or Frankie Boy Monster. This was super fun. All right, let's jump over to Kirby.
Okay. I got Black, White, and Bloodshot. And as far as Valiant goes, I'll take all the sketch covers whenever they have them, just because with all their books, they do put cover A in there, which is nice. So I like that stylization. It's got a really nice remembrance for Don Perlin in the beginning. Anthony might know him from Werewolf by Night. But he was a co-creator for Bloodshot back in the day, and he was also part of the comics, that one Comics Underground thing. But this was really enjoyable. Again, as all of these Black, White, and whatevers have been, starts out, I suppose I can't see the names, starts out with the first story, I'm So Tired, by Luciana Saraceno, and Ariel Olivetti, Martin Casanova, and Mateus Amarchi. We get more of a distinguished looking Bloodshot in this storyline, but it's basically him on a mission, just done, just burnt out, just wanting to go home, give it all up, go back. Well, not back to being what he used to, because he basically gets transformed into this character through nanites and stuff. And if you don't know much about Bloodshot, he's basically a lot like Deadpool and stuff, where you can basically be down to like a piece of chunk of brain and a little bit of blood and regenerate still. It's like you'll never be able to take this guy down unless you have some type of acid bath that he's stuck in for the rest of his life or whatever. But yeah, this first story, he's just going through the whole mission, just talking about how he just wants to go and just give it all up, be done with all the constant. Of course, I didn't put the phone next to me. Uh, and then second story is Enjoy the Movie. This one was a little discouraging. It's by Mark Guggenheim, Augusta Alessio, Martin Casanova, and Mateus Tamarchi. Hopefully, yeah. Just another telemarketer. These Republicans have been calling me all day today. But this one, it's basically a shooter in a theater, which is really depressing. And Bloodshot's in the theater just trying to watch a movie, just sit down, take a break from everything, and enjoy it. Like an 80s Sylvester Stallone commando style film. And this character comes in and shoots up the theater, and then Bloodshot just does what he does and just goes on talking about what he's trying to do and just get away from things. And of course, he can never get away from things. There's always something going on that he's got to step into. The third story is by Matts, is the writer, Matts. Don't know who that is. Artist Guillermo Fajardo, Martin Casanova letters, and Mateus Tamarchi is the editor. And in this story, they're taking their shot at. Okay, there's a good shot of them, of their own Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse style character in this storyline. It's a very creepy one that's a little demented, but he's going around taking out people, and he also has some blood nanite things in his own body, and you gotta read the story to find out who this character is, why he's a big mouse character, and what he's doing in this world. But yeah, very interesting and unique, and I like how everybody's trying to get their Steamboat Willie characters out while they can. Or I can't find the beginning of the next storyline. What was the name of the last one? And it is computer related. Okay, let's go off the beginning and see if I can get it in there. Oh, I cannot. Did I write it down at all? Yeah, I did. System dynamics. It's basically that moment when we realize we praise a killer, but could the killer have something that could cure the sick, fix the world? And in this story, you have a gal that kind of kidnaps Bloodshot, puts him on a hospital bed. She's got this weird like outfit on, this gas mask thing, and she's trying to learn a ways through her science and stuff to use his nanites in his blood to cure cancer, cure anybody that's sick in the world, and do things like that. And variety of things happen, but these stories are so short. You can't really say too much without spoiling them. But all these were really well done. You could have dealt without the theater thing because of just present day stuff, but it was still an interesting outcome for the whole story. But yeah, check out Black, White, and Bloodshot. Valiant Universe.
Cool. Now it is time to take a trip to a galaxy far, far away with our Jedi Ambassador Katie. What do you got for us?
Hi, it's been a while since we've gone to the good old galaxy far, far away. I have Star Wars The Mandalorian, the manga, Volume 2. This is adapted by Yusuke Asawa, and this covers episodes 2 and 3 from season 1 of The Mandalorian, pretty much shot for shot. So the story is So in end episode 1, Mando finds the child and is bringing him in because there is a large Imperial bounty on it. In episode 2, he gets attacked by some, I don't know, rival bounty hunters, generic bad guys, all trying to get to the child, and they don't. And then he finds out the Jawas came by and stripped his ship of all the valuable parts and copper and stuff, and he's mad about that. And so he goes to bargain with the Jawas to be like, give me back my stuff. And at first they're all, no, we're not going to give you back your stuff. And then he's like, well, if you don't give it back to me, I'm just going to take it because it's mine. And they're like, no, it's ours now. Anyway, Cowl, who is an Ugnaught, voiced by Nick Nolte, and then Misty Rosas does the bodywork and motion capture, suggests, well, what if you go and bargain with them? Like, what would be an acceptable trade for the Jawas? And the Jawas say, we want you to get us the egg. Everybody, the egg, the egg. And they're all fired up about it. They call it Suga. Mando takes a ride in the Sandcrawler, goes and fights a giant kind of rhinoceros monster who we find out is called a Mudhorn. And it's a pretty tough fight. It's really close. It's looking like Mando's not going to win, and he gets help from the baby. And we discover that the baby has force powers. There's some adorable scenes in here of Grogu, of course, like going after the frogs and eating them and giggling and being so cute. And I honestly, I think I find Baby Yoda cuter than human babies. So make of that what you will. Katie, he's just a puppet. I know, I still think it's cute. So then, he goes and bargains with the Jawas, gives them back their egg. He gets the parts back. They put his ship back together. And now we're heading back to town for real this time. And Mando is starting to, get attached to this cute little critter. And he's really having some bad thoughts about, am I really going to turn over what appears to be a defenseless infant to the Empire to do with whatever they want to do? And he does at first. And the baby, of course, looks distraught. And he accepts the reward, which is a whole Camtono of Beskar, and he doesn't feel good about it, but he does take the Beskar and share it with the other Mandalorians, and that is where we learn that there are more Mandalorians in town, and this Beskar is very important to them because their home world suffered a military purge where the Empire destroyed the planet and made it nigh uninhabitable, and Mando gets some new armor forged, and then he's gonna get back on his ship, and he notices that the little ball from the transmission shifter is missing, and he picks it up and he thinks about it, and he makes the decision he has to get the kid back. So he breaks into the Imperial base, kicks a lot of butt, rescues the baby, and is gonna kind of get out of town. And while all the bounty hunters that were also sitting around in town, they all get messages on their bounty pucks that the bounty is once again active, so they all go after Mando. He shoots his way out of there, and again, it looks like he might not make it, but then the other Mandalorians show up with their jetpacks and their guns and blast away at the bad guys so that Mando can escape with the baby, and they get on his ship, have a final confrontation with Greef Karga, and then Mando flies off to parts unknown because he has now broken the bounty hunter's code. He wasn't supposed to ask what they were going to do with the kid. He was certainly not supposed to rescue the child. The job was done, but he is keeping the Mandalorian code in his way because we find out that foundlings are very important to Mandalorians, particularly to Mando. Shot for shot, this is the episodes 2 and 3 of the show. No changes there. It's told through minimal dialogue, which both of those episodes are not very dialogue heavy. I really love the detail on the artwork. I feel like I just feel like it has a little more detail to it and a little more focus on the line work than the American comics adaptation of The Mandalorian. Yep, the baby looks cute, the Jawa looks cute, Mando looks like, big tough guy. I, no complaints there. Everybody looks like what they look like on the show. I actually feel like The Mandalorian as a story fits the manga genre pretty well because I mean, listen, it's a Western meets like a samurai guy and they go on adventures together. And yeah, I feel like that fits really well. It's definitely could be a shonen manga. A lot of it reminds me of Cowboy Bebop in parts. Um, and I enjoyed this. As far as whether you should get this or you should get the American comics adaptation, honestly, I'm 50-50 on it. They're both fine. They're both good. They tell the same story. So it's just up to what you want to read and what you'd like to try out. But I enjoyed this. The author seems like they enjoyed it, and I'd like to get some more from them. I will say doing it in manga volumes gives it a little more space to develop and draw things out. So we get just a little bit more detail. But nothing but good things to say about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, the manga, Volume 2, adapted by Yusuke Asawa. This is the way.
Excellent. Right, let's jump over to non-Jedi Ambassador. Jim, what you got for us?
I have the new Green Lantern Dark on issue number 1. This is the cover shot of a digital. Coming through pretty good. This is, like you might have seen on the cover, an Elseworlds title, which means it happens out of DC canon on any of their known multiverses. And this is a very different take on Green Lantern than anything I've seen before. It opens up with you don't realize it at first. You think it's just like the narration or writing of a battle between the superheroes of the world and whatever it is they're fighting against, and the superheroes all lose, all of them, except for one. And you see a little figure, with green light around it in the darkness. The Green Lantern is the only one that survived. And then it kind of zooms out and zooms back in a new shot. And we see a young woman, a teenage girl, or maybe not even teenage anymore, maybe even be preteen, telling a crowd a story. And this is her, but the entire time, been relating the story about how the superheroes fell, darkness came, beasts and monsters arose, and they prowl the night, and their only hope is the Green Lantern. And as they get to that, people have to light their torches to support the Green Lantern. And then you see a crowd gathered in front of this destroyed church, and they all light up flashlights and lighters and actual torches. And off to the side, you see a young boy, a young man, kind of exasperated, why does she have to believe in this kind of fairy tale kind of thing, because it's like, might as well believe in Santa Claus. And it goes on, it's like his mom tells him, let her be, kind of thing. And they go off and they go to a diner, and the owner of the diner says, oh, great job telling the story, and all this. It was the highlight of the night. And they talk about other things. So apparently this is a regular tradition that the community gathers around and entertains each other and that way. And this is her weekly contribution to tell the Green Lantern story. And while they're in this diner, a figure, much like the one they portray in the story we had earlier, that the Green Lantern in the hood with the staff with the lantern hanging from it, not lit up though, comes through the door, and the girl is excited because the Green Lantern is here. The Green Lantern's here. And she rushes to greet the Green Lantern, and the Green Lantern turns, and inside the hood is a really deteriorated face, like skin sloughing off, and it tries to attack her, and it's mumbling incoherently. And the girl runs away, monster, monster. And in the background of that shot, you see another figure dressed similarly, but with just little bits of hints of green. And the girl's mother, as she tries to defend her daughter, cuts off a hand from the monster. That hand goes flying and lands in the glass of the character with the green light, who then goes, "Oh, beer wasted," stands up, becomes full-blown hooded Green Lantern character, and begins the fight and says, "All right, now you guys got to run and hide, because now all the monsters are going to come out and I can't be around here for this." And the girl's like, "Why can't you stay and fight? Why can't you stay?" And so it develops a story of how this Green Lantern is the source, or not the source, the target for everything that these monsters of the darkness, who are like either the spawn or followers of the great evil one, Grundy, come after. So and whenever she appears, they will come, and she has to fight them, but she also puts the people in danger when it happens. So she runs around in secret and tries to hide. She tells the people that they have to go to hide, but the girl wants to help her hero, the Green Lantern. And then things ensue, and we discover that there's more involved between the girl and the Green Lantern. And by her helping the Green Lantern, somehow her faith, her help, her belief in the Green Lantern, some of that energy transfers, and the green girl's flashlight turns green while she's there helping. And then they are able to get free, destroy some of the monsters, and return the girl to her family. And then in the retelling of the story again, the faith in the Green Lantern is spreading through more people, and you see, as the story is retold, more and more green lights are appearing throughout the community. So that was kind of cool. This is issue 1, and they do already talk about issue 2 coming soon. So I don't know how long the story is going to run. As it was told, the story could stand and be all in all and be a nice Elseworlds story. But this was, like I said, it was good. I enjoyed it. I am going to go and read the rest when they do come out. Now, for the details. This was written by, Tate Bromball, art by Werther Del Edera, and Giovanna Nero. So,
Cool.
Different, another Green Lantern to add to one of the many Green Lanterns that are already out there.
You never have enough.
Apparently.
All right. We are going to jump into my next one here. And this is The Graveyard Club, number 1. Gravesend is as sleepy a town as they come, especially being surrounded by cemeteries, and the local kids could think of nowhere else they'd rather wreak harmless havoc. But being surrounded by graveyards comes with the pervasive reminder that there are more dead than there are living. This town is an endlessly eerie place with no shortage of strange and dangerous happenings, and when high schooler Parker West pulls what seems like a harmless prank, he may be putting his friends in more danger than he can imagine. This is the launch of a coming-of-age horror series, a breakfast club in a graveyard filled with frights both nostalgic and new for fans of Lock and Key and chilling adventures of Sabrina. This is done by R.L. Stine, Carola Borelli, Francesco Segala, Gloria Martinelli, and Jim Campbell. All right. R.L. Stine, every time I have a new comic book, I talk about Goosebumps being a good age when those were coming out, and reading all the Goosebumps and being a Goosebumps kid, getting excited that R.L. Stine is working in comic books, which has now probably been the last decade, starting with the A Man Thing miniseries with a cool backup story that he had that was unrelated to the Marvel Universe, and then working now, I think he's been working with Boom Studios and doing a lot of different stuff. The Graveyard Club. So I saw R.L. Stine's name. I'm like, yep, I'm going to throw this onto my reading list. This was a $10 purchase, but it is kind of like a double, triple size, feels like a trade paperback type of story, but it's told in a single volume. And it sounds, well, it doesn't sound like it because there's an ad for it, but they are going to be doing another one that I think comes out next year. Um, so yeah, this is a fun story where a bunch of kids grow up in this town, and what's cool is that you kind of see them as kids playing around in a cemetery, and they say every single day they play hide and go seek in a cemetery, and they continue to do that. And when they grow up, and now we catch them into high school, they say, well, we don't necessarily play hide and seek anymore. And if you're watching the video version, you kind of see what the high schoolers are getting up to in this story here in their young adult life. And it doesn't take too long before they are approached by what may be some kind of monster, ghost, something praying in the cemetery here. Um, you see all of these kids who started off as friends playing in this small town continue to be friends. You quickly kind of catch up to them in high school level. You're kind of seeing what the dynamics are with the friendships and possible relationships. You also, one of the quote unquote villains of this story is one of the local cops who, Ray Ray, as they call him. Ray Ray shows up here, and he's basically showing up to kind of bust these kids as many times as he can. He's talking about curfew. They're saying there's never been curfew here. He's like, well, you guys are drinking, beer here, and that is illegal. And but throughout the story, you not only get the cop here who is constantly kind of getting on their nerves. But you also have the cop's son when they're in the high school setting. So his son is basically kind of like a bully in school, really kind of a lot of smack talk and things like that. But our main kid, Parker West, is kind of dealing with these moments that uh, you kind of see the panels kind of turn to red as we get into some action and some anger type of scenes. And this is kind of leading to a lot of the horror kind of buildup. You're starting to get a vibe that maybe there's something with a town full of cemeteries, them hanging out in cemeteries and the spirits. You're starting to get a vibe throughout the story that there is something supernatural going on. They're always talking about how the bats are always out at night and flying, and even to the point where they get very aggressive and all kind of smashing into the window and trying to get into the house. There's just a lot of elements that are at play that kind of lead them to think that it's not just a coincidence that something unnatural is happening. I don't really want to show too much off as we go on to kind of leave the suspense on what kind of story this is, but it is following these group of kids who are constantly, basically, when they're getting hounded by the cop and the cop's son, it is their mission to basically try to get revenge through pranks, almost like pranks that you would be doing on Halloween night or homecoming weekend, and trying to do things that you can kind of get under their skin, things that get a little out of hand that lead to an entertaining story to create the conflict. But yeah, this I thought this was a pretty solid story. We are kind of left with this issue number one, knowing that we are going to get more next year. But I do kind of like the idea that they are, rather than doing like 2 or 3 issues a month, they're just treating this as like, all right, this is number one, but it's also basically a volume one in the same sense. But you're reading it as a trade paperback. R.L. Stine, the other things that he's been doing in comics, he has the Just Beyond series, graphic novel series. I think I talked about the first one on here on the show. I've got a couple of those to catch up on yet. Stuff of Nightmares is another one that he's been doing as well, but his name's been popping up in a lot of books, and now here's yet another series that he's launching with the Graveyard Club. So, yep, I really dug it. R.L. Stein, reading your stories for a huge chunk of my life, and here he is coming into the comic book space and experiencing it all over again. So there it is. Graveyard Club number one. Kirby?
I got another Valiant. I got Resurgence of the Valiant universe. This was interesting. I was debating on getting into it because I don't care for all the characters of the Valiant universe, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I'm glad I did because it's a 4-issue run, I believe. Uh, you have basically 3 different sides in the story, team ups. Yeah, Silk side. It has Silk, Kay McHenry, Master Dark, and Eidolon. You got the neutral side that has Shadow Man, Eternal Warrior, and Savage. You got Ivar's side that has Time Walker, Armstrong, Tama, Faith, Exo Man of War, Ninjak, and Livewire. Assuming there's going to be another team or some characters jumping in on these teams because, like, Armstrong's Archer and Armstrong, we don't have Bloodshot in here yet and stuff. I'm kind of curious also if some of these characters got new writers because Faith has kind of a whole different demeanor now in this world. But yeah, I really enjoyed how they crossed them all over. It works out nicely. We start out in Dr. Silk's home base, and he's talking about how he may have come across something that could give everybody immortality or just certain people that, of course, the powerful, hungry, them characters can just use it on themselves or offer it to the world or whatever. But they're working on something with that, and while that's going on, we have another group of characters that are dealing with these portals that are popping up just all over the world. And as you see in this first portal, and you get to see the background of what's on the other side of the portal, and then this giant prehistoric beast alligator type thing comes through the portal, and they're trying to close the portal when this creature comes through, but they're gonna have to deal with him now and get him back before they can close that portal. Otherwise, he's gonna be stuck in our world. But while he's enters our world, another character hops in, a barbarian type character hops in from the portal also and attacks the beast. And he knows that these portals are popping up all over the place. He's apparently some superhero in that part of the world or timeline or whatever. And he's trying to stop everything that's trying to get through any of these portals at the time. We deal with some kids that learn some things that happened to a couple people that got in. There's like a guy that got in a car accident and he was completely mangled and stuff, but ended up living through it. Didn't die from his wounds and stuff. So of course, teenagers being teenagers, well, if nobody can die, I'm going to drive my bicycle off a cliff and see what happens when my head gets smashed on the ground. And so people are playing around with that. And of course, the teenagers are definitely going to be the dumb ones that are going to mess around with that. You can see what happens when you read the book and stuff. And then we get Shadow Man and their group of characters are dealing with kind of a born again thing. It's like they all have different death type things that are happening. We're getting aspects of all the different waves of death throughout this storyline, what could happen to a person, and new ways that people are finding to prevent those things and find cures and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the different characters throughout this, being mixed up the way they are, being in these 3 different groups. There's a Dot of Faith. She has a little bit of a different look to her and stuff, but she's more fun, I think, as this character. I don't remember her being as goofy as she is in this one. But yeah, we got demons, we got portals bringing who knows what's going to come through those from prehistoric worlds and stuff like that. And then, of course, everybody playing with many different aspects of death. I suppose I was going to show that one picture of a gal walking through a bunch of fire, but she lost her clothes during that event, so I won't show that.
Ben, and there.
Very happy about this. Very glad I jumped on it. So, Resurgence of the Valiant universe.
And then with the sketch cover, you can have someone draw another portal and have something come out from the front of the cover. So,
Yep. Who knows? Maybe Rice Christopher will pop out.
oh, hey, look at that. All right, I'd be happy to be part of the Valiant universe. Let's jump over to Jim. We have one more weekly review. What you got for us?
I have the hardcover of collected of Mirka Andolfo's Blasfamous. This was a book when I heard of. I also at the same time saw that it was going to be issued as a hardcover. So I waited because I was really looking forward to this, but I was patient and I waited until I could buy the hardcover because I knew I was going to want it. And I am not disappointed. Ever since I discovered her, she has been one of my favorite writers and artists. And she does the lion's work of the art in here as well. She has listed some others for, I think it's color support. Colors assistance from Gianluca Papi, letters Fabio Amelia, localization by Steve Orlando, and the editorial team beyond that. But this continues the kind of theme she's been doing with most of her books, where there are issues of unclear morality, different stances in that, and her also books like Unsacred and Sweet Paprika, where the characters are angels and demons and they have different backgrounds, but they interact with each other normally. While those are both funny titles, and this one is a little more darker. It's a little serious. It's not a comedy book at all. The art styles are very similar. Actually, not quite. I would cross them between the art of Unnatural and Sweet Paprika. That it's a little more realistic tone of figure design, but it still has the demon angelic versions as well. This one is a really different take on religion and the church, in that about 600 years ago there was a battle in between the demons and the angels, and the demons won, and God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit were wiped out. Most of the angels were wiped out, and the demons took over. But it turns out that the demons and the good side are all powered by worship. And in order to get that power from the worship, they need to give the people something to worship. So they empowered what they call their blessed ones, who are basically the mega entertainers, and with people worshiping them through the new Triple Cross Church, who teaches a really strange aspect of religion that the Christian church didn't exactly teach. They are able to get the people constantly, re-upping their faith and reinvesting. And in addition to money, they're also getting their relic, the Sacred Heart, rejuvenated, and that they are able to draw the worship off in a drug they call, that they get from the Sacred Heart. Their main person in this book is Clelia, who is their blessed one, who is a major entertainer in the world. She has been around for 600 years. She was a nun right before the battle happened, and she was getting in trouble with her order, with the church, because she was being tempted by the person she loved, who was another woman. And because of that, she was easily subverted and made into a blessed one by the demons, and then were able to control her for the next 600 years. Every so often, she would disappear, and then they'd bring her back 100 years later as a new version of their person to be worshipped. So in this story, she is once again near that breaking point, but they're not quite ready to get rid of her. So they bring in a psychologist to work with her. And this psychologist is more interested in helping Clelea than in advancing the goals of the church and the demons that are pushing her. So she kind of like does things that they don't like, but they can't really get rid of her yet. And it turns out that somebody has been watching this psychologist, and they find out that, they've been doing things that we don't like, but at the same time, there is another person coming on that is going to be the new superstar, and it's not coming from these demons church. It's coming from outside. And this person is running back and forth and going from Clelea to this other new superstar. We eventually find out that the new superstar is the resurrected form of Clelea's old girlfriend from 600 years ago, and that this person, the psychologist, is the Archangel Uriel, who ended up surviving that battle, one of the only angels to do so, and is trying to get people to worship this person who they're calling Isa Christa, so that Uriel can draw their own version of the Sacred Heart power to, build up their version of the church. Well, eventually, Mariana, who is the new superstar, and Clelea figure out that this is who they are. They are the people that fell in love 600 years ago, and they are able to stay together. They subvert both the demons and the new angel, and are able to have their own life. And everything is kind of starting over from scratch between the old religion, the new old religion, and a brand new religion. So it was a very interesting story that way. It did not have the humor of the previous books. The art style is very much there. She is not afraid to be sexy with her art. She very curvy, curvaceous ladies in here. Not afraid to show nudity. So if you're looking for something that the kids are going to want to read, probably not for them, and at least not until the upper teens anyway. So, but again, I'm very fan of Mirka's work. And another pronunciation thing Kirby and I talked about early, is this Blasphemous or Blasfamous? So that's my recommendation for Mirka and Delpho again.
Cool. Yeah, I know. I bought issue 1 because when the distillery books were coming out, I bought a lot of those number 1s. But it is sitting on a pile, even though it came out like a year ago, if not longer. But so yeah, that's on my list to read yet. All right, that is going to do it for the weekly reviews. Let's jump over to our last segment, which is the news.
And now, the news.
All right, it is time to check out the October previews catalogs for products coming out in December and beyond. We'll go from Marvel to DC and then the independent catalog. So kicking off with Marvel, we have another special for Alligator Loki. Alligator Loki, Holiday Spectacular. The Alligator of Mischief is back to save the holidays. Join Alligator Loki as many, many friends from the X-Men to the Young Avengers to several symbiotes as they romp across the Marvel Universe, sowing chaos and camaraderie. I don't think I've ever seen camaraderie written out before. An equal stride. Don't miss a brand new story starring Alligator Loki and the real meaning of the holiday season. Family. This issue collects issues 13 to 24 of the Alligator Loki Infinity comic. We talked about the one that from issues 1 to 12, which they collected. I continue to enjoy the fact that if you're not a Marvel Unlimited subscriber, that they have been finding a way to put this stuff into print. So that is Alligator Loki Holiday Special or Spectacular. One of those two. All right, Kirby.
Okay. Kid Pool and Spider Boy #1. Historic first meeting. Your favorite foul-mouthed adolescent, Kid Pool, is back in comic book form, starring alongside the biggest debut character in recent memory, Spider Boy. With the adolescent arachnid, or will the adolescent arachnid be able to keep the murderous middle grader from causing the return of the comics code? Unlikely, but Bailey is going to try. Don't miss the comic that every kid and kid at heart in America is going to sneakily read under their sheets with a flashlight. Done by Christopher Yost and more, Nathan Stockman and more. So, a variety of people are going to be working on that.
All right. Katie?
I have TVA #1. This is an offshoot from the Loki TV series. It's written by Catherine Blair, Pierre Perez, and Humberto Ramos. It will be available on December 18th, 2024, and it's about the organization of the TVA is expanding its tolerance of variance. It's enlisted some new recruits from timelines that have been wiped from existence, such as Captain Peggy Carter, super soldier of her world, Gambit, despondent and aimless for the loss of his lady love, and Spider-Gwen. And I guess we'll see what happens there. This is 1 of 5, and it will be $4.99. Check it out.
Cool. Jim?
Nothing.
All right, I'm going to jump over to something I was very excited to find out about. A series of issues. What if Galactus transformed Hulk? Issue #1. The first in a new series of one-shots that ask the question, what if Galactus recruited some of Marvel's best and brightest heroes as his new cosmic heralds, in a comic book form? See how the power cosmic transforms these once familiar champions, twisting and turning all of Marvel history in their wake. In this tale, Galactus has conscripted Earth's strongest warrior, the Incredible Hulk, into his service. But what will turn out to be the bigger mistake? Trying to direct the fury of the Green Goliath, or giving the great mind of Bruce Banner a cosmic problem to solve? So yeah, they are doing a series of one-shots, and we're kicking it off with the What If Galactus Transformed Hulk. So I am 100% getting these. That's the first one. Kirby?
We got Pet Pool Party #1. How many pet pools does it take to collect a comic? Find out in this oversized fan favorite, once in a lifetime, Tony Award winning, doggone catastrophic
Blasphemous.
mouse something or other comic book, collecting every single installment ever of the Deadpool, Catpool, Mousepool, Dogpool Team Up Infinity Comics. What's that? You want more? Well, it's your lucky day, because we've also thrown in a brand new, never before seen Pet Pool Holiday Instant Classic that we created just for this printing. Why? Because you deserve it. Mackenzie Cadenhead, Eden Balam, and then some variant covers. So. Got to get the animals.
Excellent. Katie?
I also was interested in the Alligator Loki Christmas special, but other than that, I didn't have much from Marvel.
Okie doke. Continuing on with the What If Galactus, they have What If Galactus Transformed Gambit. doesn't always pop up on my phone, but there it is. Gambit is the most charismatic, most heroic, and most capable thief on Earth, which is exactly how he grabs the attention of the Devourer of Worlds. With the power cosmic flowing through his veins, Gambit is unstoppable, but is he clever enough to steal the unstealable? All I heard was Constantine from Muppets Most Wanted, because he says, "Steal the unstealable. Prepare for a heist, mon ami, one like the multiverse has never seen before." Yep, I don't care what characters they do, but Galactus being the lead point of it, I am getting all of these, and I think there are some listed for January as well. So these would be the ones that are kicking off December.
You can put me down for Alligator Loki if you decide to make it a club pick also.
All right, that's 3. So I will make sure I send that over to the club so everybody knows. Good.
And my last one is Marvel Holiday Tales to Astonish, #1. Holiday hijinks in the mighty Marvel manner. First, you're invited to the Fantastic Four's holiday party. But who are the uninvited guests? Then, in a tale of Hanukkah's past, can Kitty Pryde scramble to save the day while struggling to shop for gifts for her merry X-Men? And ring in the new year with Peter Parker and Miles Morales as only Spider-Man can. Variety of people working on that, of course.
All right. And let me see if I had any other Marvel. Yes, one more from Marvel. What if Mickey and friends became the Fantastic Four? Your favorite Disney characters as Marvel's first family. Mickey has stretching powers, Minnie can turn invisible, Goofy can burst into flame, and Donald has become some kind of rocky thing. With these incredible powers, they vow to help those in need as the Fantastic Four, and they'll need all of their awesome abilities if they are to succeed in their first mission together to stop Mole Pete. That's a perfect casting there, from destroying Duckburg. But how did they get their superpowers? Find out in this fantastic origin special. So continuing on with the past what if Marvel Disney collaboration. So that's the next one. All right. So that is going to be it for the Marvel. And to just pick up from the last rotation after Kirby went, Katie, do you have anything to kick off DC Comics? Oh, your audio, but I didn't. It sounded like you said no. Uh,
Thanks for your patience. Unfortunately, I do not, but I am open to club picks from DC.
Okie doke. Jim, anything from DC Comics?
Nope. But I'm hanging out to see what's going on. So
Very well. Well, this is embarrassing. I looked at my list. I have nothing new from DC Comics. Kirby, you can list
Yeah,
all.
I got one.
Okay.
Hey, a little light here. We didn't talk about any DC Comics yet. I got interrupted. So. Okay, well, I got DC's Batman Smells Robin Laid an Egg. #1. I can't believe no one's talking about this. I thought for sure Jim would have brought that one up. But
I don't get the catalogs anymore.
But you can get it online for free. You just go right on. I'll tell you later. Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg. The Batmobile lost a wheel. And you know the rest. Read these 6 merry tales about characters from the DCU set during the holiday season. Be enthralled by Dr. Midnight's literally silent night. Become captivated by a Dead Man story written by Marv Wolfman. And ponder the question, in a world without the Joker's torment, is it really a wonderful life? Probably not. DC's Batman Smells Robin Laid an Egg is a heartwarming new holiday anthology coming as a gift to you this holiday season. And lots of creators on that, and that's the only DC one I had written down. And I don't know if anybody other than Anthony's doing it, but I totally forgot. Yes, I am getting Mickey's Avengers Fantastic Four thing or whatever.
Okie doke. Then that's two of us there for that one. All right, so that is going to do it then for DC Comics. I had a couple ongoings that nothing new that I'm picking up.
I'll jump in on the Mickey Fantastic Four as well.
All right, I will go ahead and I'm deleting my images too early here, so I got to go back to my because I'll post the references in our club so everybody knows about it. So I'll go back into that one there, pull that up as a reminder. And then that'll do it for the DC Comics. And so let's continue with the order. Katie, do you have anything from the independent catalogs?
Yes. So, continuing a series I've brought a couple of times to the club, we have Cat and Gamer #7. This is the continuing adventures of a office worker who adopted one kitten and then two kittens, and now they are building a life together, and she's learning how to be a good cat parent, and um, the kitties are just loving life, and it's all set around like video games. Really fun, really cute, super episodic. You can just pick it up. It's available February 26, 2025. It'll cost $12, and it's by Wataru Nadatani. Check it out.
All right. And Jim, if you could pick anything from the independent publishers coming out in December and beyond, are you going to pick anything?
No.
All right, I will jump over to Image Comics with Dread the Halls. The perfect holiday stocking stuffer, a collection of horror tales to read curled up by the light of the Yule log. Be of good fear. Long before Americans celebrated horror on Halloween, the Victorians did it, gathered around a fireplace on Christmas Eve. Dread the Halls honors this macabre tradition by wishing you and yours happy holidays with stories of ghosts, ghastly abominations, and vile creatures. Covers by red hot artists, just list a bunch of cover artists. This will allow you to spread the dread this season in horrifically festive style. But yeah, I'm always down for an anthology type of book, and this had a crazy cover, some big demon, Krampus looking demon, like kind of holding a gingerbread and Terra with a venom type tongue. Like that cover is insane. So I think that's the main cover, but I'm going to be dreading the halls this December. Kirby?
Yeah, Vampirella Holiday 2024 special.
Oh, yeah.
Variety of covers. Vampirella has faced it all over the years, including demons, vampires, her deranged sister, and her monstrous mother. But before now, she's never gone up against the naughty list. Legendary writer Frank spins a decidedly dark winter's tale as Vampirella takes on the scourge of the North Pole in Vampirella Holiday 2024 special. And yeah, and the rest just illustrations and stuff. That looked fun, so I'll be picking that one up.
That's on my list as well. Katie?
Okay, so my last pick from the independent catalogs is over from Dark Horse. They are still licensing Star Wars, so we're getting a Bad Batch comic, Star Wars: The Bad Batch Ghost Agents. I think this might be an ongoing. I'm not certain. It's by Michael Morrissey, Ruari Coleman, and Valeria Favoccia. The Bad Batch is back for another high-octane adventure set during the Clone Wars. Their mission to hunt down the mysterious Separatist ghost agent who executed a daring heist on Coruscant. The thief's trail leads Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Tech to the seediest corners of the galaxy. This will be available on January 15th, 2025, and it will be $3.99.
Cool. I have to show the cover for this one so the spelling gets out there, but very excited for Died Hard. Died Hard. This one here is a bloody tale of the Easter Bunny trying to enjoy a simple vacation, only to find out that the evil group of mercenaries have taken his destination and all its visitors hostage. Now it's up to Peter Cottontail to return to his violent roots, save the hostages, and get back in time to deliver Easter joy to the kids of the world. This is featuring the animated art style of Jay Hammond, who was a past guest on Cartoonist by Night, as we talked and drew hot dogs. Check that episode out. This not-for-kids title screams Venture Brothers meets Violent Night and delivers on the promise that the Easter Bunny is the perfect action hero. When Jay Hammond was on our show, gave us a little tease of that, because I think by the time it was coming out, it was waiting to be official news. So yeah, we saw that awesome cover and great little play on words, and I'm very excited to check out this violent Easter Bunny tale this Christmas. We are going to jump over to the next one, and I just see that he's talking to someone off camera, so I'm going to buy some time, and maybe I will mention my next one, which will be Shiver Suspense Stories. So Shiver Suspense Stories. Another little mashup of words there. This one is this holiday season, terror comes calling with this 56 pages of shocking chills from an all-star cast of EC's finest friends, just in time for Christmas. Hold on, it's a lot of the same information. It's an all-new series of exercise EC specials colliding tales of horror, science fiction, and powerfully potent suspense in one joyously wrapped, square-bound package that may or may not be leaking something strange under the Christmas tree, featuring brand new tales of merry dismemberment and Yuletide destruction. Just listed a lot of the creators and more, plus a newly remastered and authentically restored holiday classic from the EC vaults. Ready to hear those sleigh bells ring, ain't it sickening? So yeah, that is Shiver Suspense Stories. I will give that a shot. Kirby?
Yeah, your last two I'm pretty much got on my list also.
Okay.
Creep Show 2024 Holiday Special One Shot. By Tina Howard and various Par, Steven Subic, and Martin Marazzo. Have a ho horrifying holiday season. A New Year's Eve party gets fiendish as Tina Howard, Catwoman, Blake Howard, Punchline, and Steven Subic, the Riddler, Year One, will have you crying for your mummy in the new year. Beloved comedian Terry Reno visits a holiday classic from the Petrolhead team of Rob Williams and Par that quickly takes a shocking turn before a live studio audience. I just love the Creep Show runs that have been coming out, so gotta grab the holiday special.
Excellent. Jim Henson Presents #1. This is a 4-issue miniseries. The iconic work of Jim Henson births some of the most beloved stories and characters of all time. Celebrate that rich history with this anthology of all new tales set in the worlds of Jim Henson. And they don't give too much details there, but looking at the cover, we see some Dark Crystal stuff. We see some Fraggles on there. So yeah, this is definitely seems like an interesting and kind of a cool way to do this. It's just kind of do an anthology 4-issue mini there from Boom. Anything else there, Kirby?
Yeah, you got the Top Cow holiday special, All Through the House one shot. Snuggle up by the fire, but stay out of the shadows and join us for the Top Cow holiday special featuring 3 8-page tales based on classic holiday stories with a Top Cow twist. Marguerite Bennett and Giuseppe Cafaro bring you a tale from Witchblade, where Sarah flashes back to her grandmother in the story of the Befana, the Italian Christmas witch. Mark Silvestri and Tina Valentino team up to bring a heartwarming Christmas tale from the darkness featuring Santa Claus, a family of darklings, and an old friend who joins the fun based on the Night Before Christmas. Matt Hawkins and Attilo Rojo put Aphrodite 9 through her paces as she navigates a deadly series of mazes based on the 12 days of Christmas. Yeah, lots of fun Christmas stuff.
I've mentioned it time and time again that I am a sucker for a great title, and this one is no different. Wait a Minotaur. Wait a Minotaur. Here it is. This looks like a fun book. It's Nick's first day at a new school. As he walks in, he meets an easily excitable and impatient Minotaur named Gus. It's Gus's first day too, so he grabs Nick's hand and charges straight into the building. There's so much to see and do. They dance along with band practice, bounce around the school gym, and end up in the boiler room. And, okay, they're lost. They may not know where to go, but they know what to do. Wait a minute, calm down, and retrace their steps so they can find their classroom. Young comics readers are sure to resonate with the comics illustrator Jeffrey Ebeler's hilarious slapstick take on common coming of age experience, and parents will love the subtle lessons of patience and critical thinking. You name your book, Wait a Minotaur, you got my money. Can't wait to check out what that is like. Kirby?
Nosferatu Nightmares #1. In 1922, a vision of horror was unleashed upon the world, and over a century later, its haunting imagery still influences modern horror. This frightful anthology gives today's authors and artists an opportunity to tap into that primal terror and deliver Nosferatu vampiric tales inspired by the glorious, silent black and white monster that was woven nightmares into our collective subconscious for decades. Join some of today's most creative horror creators as they pull you into the shadows with gripping tales of terror in this throwback to the black and white monster magazines of the past.
Cool. And that's it for that I have. So if you have anything else, feel free to rattle them off.
Sure, you're gonna make me jump around now. Don't know why I had that page marked. And I got two other ones here that you might have already mentioned. But yep, Die Hard. There's lots of covers for that one. And then page. Yep, the Shiver suspense stories. So yeah, got me covered. It's finally my lightest month of the year.
I think the same for me as well. As I look at all the stuff I have to read yet, and I'm like, I was glad I was able to make some cuts where needed, but still make room for the things that definitely needed to be on my reading pile. But yeah, it's always fun to go through the previews. We barely scratch the surface with it, so we always recommend to check out the previews catalogs, whether from your local comic book shop or your preferred online retailer, because there's hundreds upon hundreds of pages that we cannot cover here on the show. If you want some more of the previews picks, you can go to Kirby's show Under the Cowl of MS, and those previews episodes are up on YouTube, covering through more in depth of some of these catalogs that we don't cover on this very episode. But yeah, that is going to do it for this episode. Some quick plugs here: crimsoncowl.com for info and original webcomics. And by the time of this episode release, don't take my word for it, but David and David, both of the Gloyd family, are hoping to release something for crimsoncowl.com for their online comics. So just go to crimsoncowl.com. Hopefully that is available there. I don't know if I'll remember to edit this out if something happens, but getting close to the finish line, I know. So hopefully that stuff should be out there. Crimson Cowl Comic Club on iTunes. Subscribe, rate, and review for the audio version. If you want the full experience where you see cats and old white people, hair and masks, then you go to YouTube, Crimson Cowl Comic Club, over on YouTube for the full experience. And then, Kirby, you have Under the Cowl of MS. You want to let people know what's been going on over there?
October's been basically set for Halloween. So I've been doing single reviews wearing different types of masks. I got a variety of other reviews, a couple on unboxings and stuff like that. But mostly all set to the holiday season. After that, we'll have tons of stuff coming out because I gotta get caught up on all the stuff I had to read from Milwaukee Mighty Con and all that stuff. So we will have probably multiple episodes every day throughout
Excellent. So follow Under the Call of MS wherever you get your audio podcast, as well as YouTube and the social medias. I have Race Christopher, the Wednesday afternoon special. You can reach out to me, latchkeykid at gmail.com, LAATSCH, latchkeykid at gmail.com if you want to order a copy, and I could ship that out to you. And then another thing, based on the time we're recording this, I am going to have a 5-page preview of the next printed issue that I'm going to release in early 2025. And it's a Halloween-esque story, and that will be available online. It's very possible that it could also be on crimsoncowl.com. Still got to shake out on where I'm releasing that, but just based on the time of this recording, it's not out there yet. But when you see it, it'll be out there. So just go to my social medias at Anthony Laatsch, LAATSCH, over on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, Rice Christopher plus a 5-page preview for the next printed story that and right now I am finishing up to the last page. So I'm super excited to release that and share that with the world. I am going to do a show at the end of November, which is called Warrior Con, and I have the graphic that I'm going to pop up here for the YouTube audience. Warrior Con, this is Maine West High School in Des Plaines, Illinois. I looked up a couple YouTube videos to see if I was pronouncing that right, and the person I checked said it that way. So Saturday, November 23rd from 10 to 5. This will be my first out-of-state convention, and my friend Bernie over at Oh Yeah Comics is running this over at this location at this high school for a brand new convention. He's got a lineup of some of the creators, professional creators and such that are going to be there, other vendors and such, and all of the proceeds for the admission and table fees and all that kind of stuff is going to go directly to the arts program for Maine West High School. I was happy to be invited by Bernie, and so I'm going to make the trek out there and hang out with some friends and make my first out-of-state appearance, bringing Rice Christopher all over the world. Although Rice Christopher has been at Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie, so Rice Christopher is no stranger to Illinois at this point. But so I'm excited to be there selling the comic book as well as original art and art prints and stickers and bookmarks and all of that stuff. Now, let's say you're in Illinois and you're like, you know what? I already went over to the Warrior Con, and I supported a bunch of the creators there and helped the arts community from that high school. Let's say that you went, and I don't even know if the library is going to be open that day, so I don't know why I'm promoting it this way. I am part of this library show, Goblins, Ghouls, Witches, and Other Frights. This is a festive gallery of art at the Chicago Public Library at the Austin Irving location in Chicago, Illinois. And at the time of this recording, they had their little kind of meet the artist reception debut. I was unfortunately unable to attend. My friend Lavi sent me some pictures of my art piece that is hanging there at the Chicago Public Library, and I believe it's going to be hanging there in the this specific exhibit through the end of the year. I'm hoping to have a chance to see it in person, but it was super cool to have Lavi share that image with me. And if you are watching the YouTube audience, let's say you're the audio listeners and you're like, hey, I'm not going to be able to see this picture he's about to show. Well, that's why you go to the YouTube. So here we go. I'm going to show it to our YouTube audience. This is my amphibian from the Henson Lagoon that is currently framed and hanging up at a Chicago Public Library, which is a ridiculous sentence to say. So yeah, that's a thing that happens and it's out there. So that is a piece that I drew specifically to fit this this ghouls and what was it? Goblins and Ghouls, Witches, and Other Frights. I guess this, yeah, it could, let's say it goes under all categories. But yeah, my friend Chris O'Connell, another past guest on Cartoonist by Night, invited me for that, and that was kind of a crazy thing. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. All right, so that is going to do it for some of those plugs. Cartoonist by Night, which is what I said. I have one more plug. An episode that is out now with Justin Castaneda. Justin Castaneda, we talked about on the show probably maybe when we used to do some some art reveals after Comic Cons and such, but he does these cool cardboard sketches here, and I got some from the Kevin Smith universe from past conventions. I have this awesome Tatiana Maslany She-Hulk, which, by the way, if I line up on the YouTube screen, it kind of fits my body type right here where I'm kind of positioned. So, She-Hulk. And then also the most recent one, after seeing Joker Folie à Deux with Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, he drew that one, and I immediately scooped that one up. Well, Justin Castaneda, he is the artist and co-creator of Wonder Care Presents The Kinder Guardians. This is a fun comic book series, and then as well as Heart, which is his kind of a little kind of a storybook thing here. A very awesome story. He also had a comic story in Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales, as well as multiple-time contributor to All Yeah Comics for both story and art. So Justin Castaneda, been a fan of his over the last handful of years, meeting him at the convention tables, and it was fun to hang out with him on Cartoonist by Night with his topic, which was scary movies. So you'll find out what our favorite scary movies are by going to Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube. Subscribe. There's probably like 28 or 30 episodes at this point. We have our next guest book, so I'm super excited for that one. Subscribe to that to see a bunch of guys hanging out, drawing, and talking. All right, I think I have exhausted all the plugs here. That's going to do it. Thank you for checking out the Crimson Cowl Comic Club. Please tell a friend, like, share, comment, review, all of that fun stuff to help get this show out there. And I'm excited to introduce the show to the WarriorCon audience over in Illinois when I do some promotion over in the state below. That is going to do it for this episode. This whole time, I've been getting goosebumps in the graveyard off of Fear Street.
I've been in shock ever since I seen She-Hulk with a bald spot.
Nice.
I've been an off-world Jawa and a sandcrawler.
Trick or treat, smell my feet.
To be continued.